Hi guys, welcome to Learn Tech from Zero. Today we'll be covering further CCNA topic. So let's begin with today's topic, which is 1.4, identify interface and cable issues. If you're new to this channel, you can go to Learn Tech from Zero and you can learn CCNA and other courses like Comptia courses, AWS, Azure, completely for free. If you have any questions, just leave a comment and I will be happy to explain it to you. All right, so let's begin with today's topic. This topic focuses on how to detect and troubleshoot physical and data link layer problems that affect network communications between devices such as switches, routers, and computers. In simple terms, in simple terms, all the network devices that are usually, if we're, when we talk about wired connection, we will be getting to wireless connection later in the course, but in the beginning we are more focused with the wired physical connections. So this topic, it basically teaches you how to detect and troubleshoot issues within those ports. So when we say ports, these are physical ports, and all the networking devices have these ports, and this is how devices communicate with each other. When we say devices, when we say wired devices communicate with each other through those ports. So we will be learning about these ports today. So every network devices, this is what I've explained. Every network device like switch, router, PC. When we talk about wired connection, they uses interfaces. These are called interfaces, um, to connect network cables. When we say network cables, so these interfaces are for RJ45. So we are talking about straight copper um, cables like Cat5, Cat6, Cat7, etc. And then you can view details using these commands. So let me just quickly show you. So this is packet tracer. We will be doing labs in the future. We will be configuring switches, routers, etc. So you don't need to worry too much about it now. I will just quickly show you. So let's assume this is a switch. So let's assume this is a switch. So it's one of those devices. So this is a device, one of them. I will log into it. I will log into this switch using CLI. It's not basically, let's say I am logging into this switch by connecting. There is a console port. Well, let's say one of them is console port, so I will connect one of those um, cable inside the console port, and I will then connect it to my laptop, and then I will log into the switch. So this is how it works. So I'm just gonna, let's say, log into one of the switches just to check some of the ports. When we talk about ports, these are the ports. All right, so let's say you don't need to worry about too much about the commands right now, because we will be focusing on them later on. So right now, um, just wait until I get to the point. So you can see when basically I've placed a command, show IP interface brief. So this is the shortcut way of getting it done, but you can also type in complete full words. So this switch has, let's say, 1 2 3 4 5 6, so it has about 20 let me just gonna go, let's say it has about 24 fast Ethernet ports, and then 2 gigabits ports. So in simple terms, it means, let's say when we say first Ethernet ports, let's say they only have a speed of 100 megabits per second for each port, and there are other 2 ports which can cover up to 1 gigabits per second. Don't worry about it for now. So let's say this switch has 24 plus 2 26 ports, like that. Okay. Okay, now I want to explore one of the ports. So let's say I want to explore first Ethernet 01. So they have numbers. So it's number one, the first port that I want to check. So it's basically based on the notes from the website. It says show interface. You can just type show interface, and it tells you all the configurations or everything about that port. And when you type this command, it will give you all the ports information, not just single port. But if you type show interfaces and then you put the port number, then it gives you information about just one port. So if I say show interface, and let's say that this number is port 2, so I say show interface fast ethernet port 2, then it will show you information about this port only. But if you say show interfaces, it tells you all the information about all the ports. Okay, so I will just go, and let's say I want to just explore one of the ports, not let's just do both of them. So show interfaces. So you can say that right now it's talking about fast number one. So it has a lot of information, everything about that port. You will find all the information in there. So when you get further into networking, or get further into your IT career, everything will start making sense. So you don't have to worry too much for now, or for CCNA. So that you can see fast ethernet 1 is down. Now fast ethernet 2, if I keep going, it will, I can see fast ethernet 3 next. All right, let's say I just want to explore about just one port. So what I will do is I will type show interface and then fast ethernet 1. I want to explore the number one port, everything about that port. I'll just press that, and now it has all the information related to that port. Okay, all right, so this is done. Now collisions. What are collisions? A collision happens when two devices transmit at the same time. Collisions were common in half duplex Ethernet. When we say half duplex Ethernet, I've covered it in the previous video, so you need to go and check. Half duplex Ethernet is in Ethernet shared media. So if you check 1.3b Ethernet shared media, this is the old technology where um, we used to use hubs. So you can go and check that video. So this was common in old technology when we used to have hubs, but not with switches anymore. So right now, in this modern world, half duplex Ethernet, it doesn't exist. We have full duplex. So when we say when we say half duplex, before the those ports, they used to only send and receive at separate times, not at the same time. So when we say this port can send data and receive data at the same time, it's full duplex. But if this port can only send data at once, when the sending is done, and then later on it receives, so it can only send at once and then received at once, then it's called half duplex. That's it. So back in the time, the devices used to communicate. Let's say these are two different devices, they were in two separate places, and let's say this port was let's say this device was communicating with this device. It used to send first to this port, this will only receive, and when it's done, it will send reply to this port, where it will be sending and it will only be receiving. So they did not communicate at the same time. One will send data first, the other one will receive and then later on the second one will send data, the first one will receive it. But right now, the modern, this was the norm for hubs. But with switches, you don't have to worry about that, because we have this new technology, this those it's enabled in all interfaces, called auto MDIX. So what happens is it can send and receive data at the same time, but before, with hubs, it wasn't possible, and with switches it is possible, with the feature called auto MDIX, which is enabled in all ports. So right now, in this modern world, collisions, they don't exist. If there is an issues with collisions, which means it could be a duplex mismatch or bad cable, or maybe problem with the cable, or duplex mismatch. Duplex mismatch means let's say this switch wants to communicate with this port, so this one wants to communicate with this port. What will happen is they need to have the same configuration, otherwise they will not be able to talk. So let's say if this is half duplex, and if this is full duplex, then they will not be able to communicate. So they both have to have half duplex, or let's say if they are, this is full duplex, it has to have full duplex as well, otherwise they will not be able to communicate. So the configurations have to be the same for both the ports for them to communicate. And also it has to be either half duplex or full duplex, or and also it has to have the same speed. This one, let's say this one has 1000 gigabits per second speed and this one has 100, they will not be able to communicate, so they will need to have the same speed. This is what it is all about, collisions. Errors, so you can find those errors: input errors, CRC errors, runs, giants, output errors, frame errors. Everything will show up on the command when we used to check the configuration. So let me just show you everything that we just discussed right now. Input errors, CRC errors, runs. So what's input error? Total number of errors while receiving frames. When we say frames, when it receives data. So these are the total number of errors when while receiving data to that port. So when it was receiving, these are the total number of errors that it found out. It will log it in the display, so you need to do show interface command to find out all these informations. Then CRC errors, frame received but the cyclic redundancy check failed. Just go through them. You don't need to be an expert in all this right now. Right now we are only talking about the the issues that could occur within those ports, and how you can check for those information, and how and the main focus is you have to make sure that collisions, they don't occur. So you have to make sure they have they are not having duplex mismatch, which is they need to have the same uh, information, like they need to have either full duplex or half duplex, same speed, which we will be configuring later on. So this video is all about just giving you an idea about the issues that might have within those ports and where you can find those information. So CRC errors runs frame smaller than 64 bytes. When we say 64 bytes, this is the minimum size of a frame, a packet that basically sends from one device to another. It has to be minimum 64 bytes, and a frame can be a maximum of 1518 bytes. So if there is a runs error, that means there are smaller bytes, less than 64. And if there are giants error, the port is receiving larger frames, more than 1518. Output errors while sending frames. So when it's trying to send frames like messages and it's facing errors, you can find it using that information. So let's just check where we can find them. So right now, let's say we are exploring first Ethernet 01. So I've done show interface port number 1, first Ethernet 01. Let's say we are just talking about this port. And then now let's just quickly check that. You can see that fast Ethernet is down, so this port is not active right now. You have to make it active. We will work on that later on. This is the physical address, the MAC address of the device, and these are the information that you don't need to worry too much for now. And now you can see that this one is half duplex, so it means it can only receive or it can only send data. It can't do receive and send at the same time. So if this one is half duplex, as it says it is half duplex, and this one is full duplex, it will not be able to communicate with the other switch. So they have to have, this one has to be half duplex as well. All right, and then let's don't worry about this one now. don't worry about this one now. Let's just see where we can find those. So you can see, look, zero output errors. These ports are not active right now, so you will not see any errors. But later on in the future, I will show you how to configure them and how to deal with those errors. So zero output errors. So you can see that output errors means while sending frames. So it's not active, so it's not sending any frames. And then let's say let's just check more. Look, zero CRC, the one that we just mentioned. So CRC errors is right there. Zero runs smaller than, this one is receiving frames smaller than 64 bytes, so no, it's not receiving anything because it's inactive at the moment. So this is how you check them. This is where you can find all the information. The way to do it is show interface, and then it gives you information about every single port. And if you want to find specific information about one specific port, then you need to type show interface and the port number. So fast Ethernet, let's say 5, so the fifth port, so you can find all the information. So if there is any issue in the let's say you are a network engineer, and then you need to find out an issue. Let's say this port is not working, everything is down. All you can do is you can log into the switch, and then you can check the statistics of the interface information about that port, and then you will find all the information. And when you were a network engineer, or when you were into networking career, this is towards the end of, basically towards the end of the CCNA course, most of the things will make sense to you. Maybe it's not making any sense now, but it will start making sense later on. But this is where you can find all the information related to that port. So thanks for your time. I will see you next time with the next topic.